Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Mark Hudson, 2-0!
What a finish, what a goal!
Davies crossing the skate, they're headed down. Good save from Wilson.
A very good evening and welcome to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City. I'm your pre-game host, John Donovan. Well, what a difference a win makes on a Saturday. Cardiff City playing extremely well at the Stadium of Light, creating lots of chances. Yes, only one goal, but an impressive 3 points, which hopefully the Bluebirds can take on at least the momentum into tonight and that rearranged fixture against Hull City. We've got a packed lineup, a packed show coming up in the next 20 minutes or so, a catch-up with the gaffer, Mark Hudson, along with club captain as well, Joe Ralls, and also a real treat for me, an interview with Cardiff City legend, former player and caretaker manager on 2 occasions, Jimmy Mullen, on the occasion of his 70th birthday. That's all still to come, but the news is in on the teams, and it's an interesting one for Cardiff City. Lots of games in quick succession sees interim manager Mark Hudson make 4 changes to the lineup this evening. Still the 4-3-3 formation we suspect, but his hand was forced, of course, on 2 of those changes, with Cedric Kipre and Ryan Wintle out with suspension. Coming into the lineup is Curtis Nelson, Romain Sawyers, Andy Renomota and Callum Robinson returning from Derby Day suspension. Dropping out, Kipre, Wintle, Philogene, who doesn't make the bench, whether that was a knock from the weekend, and Mark Harris, goal scorer from the weekend, who is on the bench. So the lineup for the Bluebirds in full. It will be Ryan Alsop in goal, Marlon Romeo at right wing back, Niles Nkonku at left back, Curtis Nelson we think will play as the left centre half, Perry Ng of course as the right centre half. Romain Sawyers perhaps is deployed as the deep lying midfielder. He played that role very well at West Bromwich Albion in the early stages of his spell there. That would allow Joe Ralls and Andy Renomota to play in front of him, but that might change. We'll pick that up in commentary. And then a front 3 of Shea Ojo, Callum O'Dowda playing slightly further forward than on the weekend, and of course the returning Callum Robinson. On the bench for the Bluebirds, Jack Anick, Joel Bagan, Kian Atet, Tom Sang, Gavin White, Ruben Colwell making a very welcome return, and Mark Harris. So the squad a little stretched, but still a lot of talent there, and also firepower, game changers off the bench. For Hull City, well, we're not quite sure really. Liam Rosenior is the new man in charge. 1 game down, a draw on the weekend against QPR. Looks like he shuffled the pack, and most notably he has his top scorer and talisman, Oscar Estepunian, suspended, which makes life a little difficult. It looks like Hull may be matching up and going 4-3-3, but without a recognised centre forward, so perhaps a false 9 being deployed by Liam Rosenior. But again, it's a case of suck it and see. We will see at the start of the game. We'll try and pick that out in the early stages of commentary. But the Hull City lineup in full. Nathan Baxter is the goalkeeper, a back 4 of former Swansea player Cyrus Christie, Alfie Jones, former Nottingham Forest man Tobias Figueiredo, and Jacob Greaves, the captain. A lot of midfielders in the team, a lot of holding midfielders in the team, including Ryan Woods and Greg Doherty. There is width provided by Ryan Longman and also Dimitras Pelkas. And then it might be either City just in front of Woods or Doherty, and then Regan Slater playing as the false 9 or 10, but that could be swapped around. It really is a case of wait and see. Liam Rosenior perhaps just looking to stabilise his club, who are 21st in the table at the moment. A win for Cardiff City, of course, would lift them further away from the Tigers, looking upwards as we approach that World Cup break. And looking upwards is certainly what Mark Hudson wants to do. He's the first instalment of our next segment, followed then by club captain Joe Ralls. Joe Ralls is the last instalment, and sandwiched in the middle, Cardiff City legend Jimmy Mullen. Let's hear from those 3 figures right now.
Yeah, really good result, and again, really pleasing performance. I think we dominated the first half, started really well, grew into the game, should have scored, had the penalty, should have scored. But then we started the second half as well as we did the first, so we said at half time it's about backing up the first half, and we did that. Then we had to show resilience late on in the game, and we did that as well. So it's a really pleasing performance. You don't get to sort of enjoy the moment too long because we've spun it around really quickly. They've been there, the performances have been there, bar a slightly flat Coventry and bar the sending off that we had. They've been brilliant over the period of time. So the consistency's been there in that aspect, but then it's turning it into wins. But to travel up there in a busy week after a midweeker, and then to play like we did, again, like you said, to show them how well they can do. You see a togetherness in them, which is growing every game, every week. But you don't get to live on it too long. You can use it going forward, which we'll hopefully do for tomorrow night. When you bring in 17 new players and you've got a big turnaround of playing staff, it's going to take time to gel. They have to get used to each other. I know they're together quite a lot, but it still takes time to understand habits, how they play for each other as well. But that grows every week, and I think the results the performances show that they're growing, they're coming together, and everyone's pushing to be in the team, which is what we ask for every week. We've got 2 home games, and that's something that we focus on. We focus on the first one tomorrow night, and then we'll see what and where we are for the last one before the World Cup. Hull got a new manager, Liam, to come in there. They went to Millwall, showed resilience in that game, going down to 10 and obviously getting the draw. So we know it's going to be a tough game, but we can only focus on this one first, and then we'll look at Sheffield after that.
Delighted to say I've been joined by Cardiff City legend Jimmy Mullen. Jimmy, let's get the question out of the way first. Many happy returns. It's your birthday. 30, 35? Are you lacing up the boots tonight?
70.
70. Yeah. You're looking well. I hope I look as good at 70 as you are right now. It's great to see you back at Cardiff City. New surroundings at Cardiff City Stadium, obviously associated with Ninian Park. Still a keen affinity with the Bluebirds?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I mean, I haven't missed a game here for the last all this season and most of last season as well. So it's good, you know. I mean, it's nice to see the likes of Roger, David Giles, Roger, you know, and people like that. You know, it brings back memories, doesn't it?
I bet it does. So let's take a little bit of a trip down memory lane. And before you came to Cardiff, it sort of started in Sheffield. You know, Sheffield Wednesday and Cardiff City, your 2 main clubs in terms of appearances. 2 not bad clubs to play for. Good clubs, big atmospheres. What was it like playing at Hillsborough?
Oh, terrific. I mean, I went there as a 16-year-old boy from the northeast, and I made my debut on Boxing Day a year later when I just turned 18 years old, you know, and from then on I was a regular member of the team, and you know, and before I knew it, 10 years had gone by and I was granted a testimonial, and which was great, you know, and it was one of those clubs where I just fell in love with when I was a young boy, you know, that everything about it was top notch, and you know, probably a sad day when I left, you know, to go to Rotherham United.
Well, the journey was a happy one for Cardiff City. You came down here and made in the region of about 199 appearances before 2 spells as caretaker manager. How did the move come about? And was it a culture shock coming down to Ninian Park and Jubilee Park opposite, training there after Hillsborough?
Well, funnily enough, I came down at the end of the 81-82 season on a 3-month loan with Len Ashurst, and you know, that's when I really got to know the place and I got to know the players. And obviously Len was manager at Sheffield Wednesday for a while, and when I came down, I just thought it was a great club, well-run club, historically, you know, a big club in a big city, you know. Probably the city's bigger now than what it was when I first came down here, but terrific place to come down to.
We haven't got a lot of time with you, but I want to touch on a couple of names. One you mentioned there, I started watching Cardiff in '88. I got the second Len Asher spell. When I said I was interviewing you tonight, my dad and brothers very excited. They're a big fan of yours. Len Asher, huge success as Cardiff City manager, also at Newport County as well, Sunderland. What was he like as a man?
Oh, terrific. Straight, straight talking guy. Told people the way it was and the way it was. Everybody knew exactly what was expected from him. His ability to put teams together and play well together was, second to none. Like everything else, Len would sort of make sure that, his players were happy, they were content, and but discipline. They were very strong in terms of discipline. So everybody knew that if they stepped out the line, that they'd be punished.
The other name I want to mention, and I don't mean this to be controversial, but Cardiff City fans, my brothers included, always mention Alan Durban and the Durban years. What were they like?
Well, without being too sort of critical or anything like that, I think Alan found it very, very difficult. I think he took the job because obviously he was born and bred in Neath and Port Talbot, that area. But I think it was one of those clubs which just wasn't him and the club just didn't fit, and he found it difficult, obviously, and two relegations on the bounce, didn't do him any good in terms of reputations. But sad, shame, really. But it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was completely down to what Alan did or what he tried to do, whatever it was. I mean, I think the club at that particular time was going through a situation where it needed a good clean out, and that, as it happened after that, when people like Frank Burrows came in and this and the other, again another, disciplinarian, got the discipline from the players, and that spoke what volumes in terms of they got promotion again, so. From that point of view, I felt a little bit for Alan, I really did. But football's a cruel game, and if you're not there and you're not successful, then you're facing the door which says goodbye.
You are indeed. Two final questions, Jimmy, because I know we've got to let you go. And we threw this on you as well. You're very good to do this. Successful managerial career as well. Highlight perhaps being the two promotions at Burnley, again another big club at Turf Moor. What clicked for you up there?
Well, quite simply, I mean, when I took the assistant manager's job under Frank Casper, I was still learning. I was still, learning the management side of things. I had a bit of an up and down situation at Blackpool for a wee while, but with Frank, he gave me the opportunities to sort of take the front position and say, we're going to do it this way, we're going to do it that way. And unfortunately, Frank, for a family situation, he decided that enough was enough, and I was given the job. And I had this situation in my head about the old 4th Division. I felt that the way we were set up and the way we were playing was allowing, for the want of a better word, lesser teams getting close to us and spoiling the way we want to be. So I just went in and I just said, look lads, this is what I'm planning on doing, this is the way we're going to play. We're going to make sure that the opposition is going to be on the back foot as much as we can put them on, and then we'll see what happens. And I used to say to them, whatever happens, when we get in certain areas of the field, you're free to do what you want. And they took it on board, and 14 games unbeaten, went from the middle of the table to the top of the table and stayed there, and that we set that standard then for the next 3 or 4 years.
Sounds like your player's dream. Just finally, Jimmy, bring us up to date. Obviously, we've discussed your 35th birthday today. How is life otherwise with you? What are you up to? Are you in good health? You still enjoying football?
Yes, I'm fine. Yeah, I love the football. Without the football, I don't know what I would do. Great. And I've settled into a lovely place next door to a good friend of mine who's looked after us really, really well. And I'm just looking forward to the future, and I'm just hoping that we get this right on the other side of it, and they had a great result on Saturday. Let's hope they get a great result tonight.
Yeah, here. Jimmy, a real privilege and pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for your time and happy birthday.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Andrew, for the surprise.
Welcome back to Matchday Live on Cardiff City TV, and a real honour for me there to interview Cardiff City great Jimmy Mullen. Now we will, as advertised, be hearing from Joe Ralls, but such is the stature of Connor Pearce at the club, we couldn't keep him waiting any longer. Delighted to say I'm being joined by Connor Pearce, and also delighted to be joined by Connor because I wasn't at the Stadium of Light on Saturday. I had the good fortune of listening to you and Mark and the commentary. You were there in person. How impressive was it on Saturday?
It really was an impressive performance. Both ends of the pitch in Cardiff City, particularly the first half, an attacking display, really energetic. And even when that missed penalty occurred, didn't slow Cardiff City down. They kept going and eventually got that open goal in the second half. But then what a good turnover after that. Good Chelsea play more protection. Cedric Gray, unfortunately, suspended with an tackle late in the game. And a clean sheet was all of the shots.
There's a couple of players I want to ask you about. One, in terms of how he played and where he played on Saturday, and one who's coming into the lineup tonight and where he might play. I want to start with Callum O'Dowd. It looks like he's back in the front three tonight. Played a little deeper on Saturday. A lot of fans had been suggesting that. It seemed to work quite well. The other player I want to ask you about, apologies if there was any sound issues there. The other player I want to ask you about, Connor, Romain Sawyers. Hasn't quite kicked off with his Cardiff City career yet. He's tempted to play in the number 10 role or an advanced midfielder. Tonight I think he might play as that Ryan Wintle role, the sitter. It could be a big moment for him tonight.
Yeah, I think it is a big opportunity for him to kind of take this game and kickstart his Cardiff career, as you said. Got that ability on the ball, we know, Romain Sawyers. And we know that he can attack the ball and score plenty of goals.
Hull City now, not sure what to expect from them. I said in the build-up, new manager, we've seen it before, Huddersfield notably this season. You can throw the dice in the air and see what comes down. They haven't got a recognised striker. We think it might be a false nine, a 4-3-3 perhaps. Lots of midfielders in there. Connor, illuminate us.
Well, they did really well, to be fair, Hull City, to get a draw against Millwall. Always a tough side to play against, especially with 10 men. That main man being out tonight, going to be a problem for them. Ryan Longman may be up there, more of a midfielder. We don't know. We'll have to see. Not a nice start for Liam Rosenior to his managerial career at the KCOM Stadium, that's for sure.
Now, we were here last midweek, a decent performance against Watford, but a loss. A good win on Saturday. We're now on the final sprint to that World Cup break. Momentum's such an important thing. 2 games now before the break. It's just so vital to keep that feel-good feeling, to keep that momentum going tonight.
Well, just look at the table. So congested, particularly in that lower third. 6 points from 6 would shoot Cardiff City really into a good position going into that break. And it'll give everyone the chance to go into that break with confidence, a bit of positivity, and knowing that they've earned that rest. Because then when we come back, we're straight into that Christmas period, and we all know what the fixture schedule is like then.
Connor, my thanks for the moment. I believe you're on commentary with me tonight, so you've got double trouble. I apologise, but we'll hear from you again shortly. We will now hear from the man I promised you earlier. Club captain Joe Ralls spoke to the Cardiff City TV team on his arrival.
Joe, another big game this evening. What are your thoughts on today's fixture?
Yeah, another big game, yeah. Obviously got a lot of confidence after a good win on Saturday, so hopefully we can take that into the game and obviously back in front of our home support as well. Hopefully we can get a good win.
And it is a quick turnaround from that game on Saturday. How are you feeling? How are the boys feeling?
Yeah, good, yeah. Used to it now. It's been a tight schedule, but no, that's what the squad's for. We're ready, we've prepared as best we can, and we're looking forward to another game today.
And it was, as you mentioned, a big win against Sunderland. What's the mood been like today and yesterday between the boys? Yeah, brilliant, yeah. I think we've been playing well. We haven't always got the results or the wins that we'd like over the last however many games, but I think performances have been good. That was just a great away win for us up there, so
like I say, the boys are full of confidence. We're playing well, and hopefully we can take that into the game.
Hull City tonight at Cardiff City Stadium. What have you made of them so far this season?
It's hard to say really, because obviously they've got a new manager. We're expecting a tough game, as always in the Championship. They'll come here and obviously be wanting to impress the new manager, and it's going to be a tough game. So we're going to need to be on our game. We're going to need the fans to be behind us, and it's an important game for us. Obviously we've got 2 before the break now, so let's try and get as many points as we can, and hopefully we can start that off today with a win.
Absolutely, taking the words out of my mouth. You want to finish strong, you want to finish with points, and how big a boost would that be to the squad if we can get 1 or 2 victories before the end of the week?
Yeah, it'd be massive, yeah. Obviously it's unknown territory, this break at winter break, so it's a bit unknown for us, but I think the discussions we've had has just been, let's try and go into it in the best form possible, and put ourselves in the best position so that when we come back we can pick up where we left off. So we're hoping to do that. We've got 2 games at home now, and hopefully we can get as many points as possible.
And as well as those points in front of the home crowd, you want to put on a show and entertain the City fans, don't you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. They've been brilliant with us this year. We've had obviously change of management and a lot of new players, and the boys have mentioned how brilliant they've been. So they've stuck with us, and like I say, we've had some good games, and hopefully we can keep progressing in that and keep building. I think we're a team that's growing. They can see that, and hopefully we can put on a show today and get a good win.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Disappointing he didn't get a striking long goal. Previous play, difficult technique, holding off the defender right arm, shooting across the toilet again. Strikes this time, goal! 1-0 to City out of nothing really, holding the ball away cheaply. And the Bluebirds strike emphatically. Precious goal in the end, 1-0 to City.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Mark Harris! 2-0!
What a finish, what a goal!
Davies crossing the skate, headed down. Good save from Ralls.
Very good evening and welcome once more to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City TV. This midweek rearranged fixture between the Bluebirds and the Tigers. Hull City coming to Cardiff City Stadium on what is a rather chilly autumnal evening under the lights. John Donovan here with you this evening alongside Connor Pearce. We were talking in the pre-game show if you caught us. Connor, you were there on Saturday. A very impressive performance from the Bluebirds, and important for the Bluebirds to build on that tonight.
It really is. 2 games left until that pause for the World Cup. Points vital, but also performance in front of the home crowd. The Bluebirds will really want to put on a show and leave these fans going into that break feeling positive, obviously. I'm sure a majority of them will be watching Wales in Qatar, but when it comes back to league football in mid-December, the Cardiff City fans around the globe will be wanting to go back into that action, having had some wins at home. So really important tonight against the Hull City side without that goal-scoring threat that we've seen in recent weeks, and a good chance to pick up some points this evening.
Indeed there is. We will come on to team news. I will ask Connor's opinion on this. With games in quick succession, and of course it is a squad game these days, and Cardiff City invested in those 17 players in the summer, so it is a squad dynamic. 4 changes tonight. Surprises you there's that many, or does necessity must?
Oh, I think so. Getting to this final stage before that break that we've talked about, there's going to be some tired legs, going to be a few knocks as well along the way, and I think that has put pay to Jaden Philogene. But obviously some of those changes, positive shall we say, and Callum Robinson coming back to that side is a really big plus for the Bluebirds tonight.
Indeed, that is the headline news, that Callum Robinson is back in the lineup. We can take you through the Cardiff City team in full. There are 4 changes. In fact, we envisage a continuation of the 4-3-3 formation. So that will mean Ryan Alsop in goal, a back four of Marlon, Romeo, centre-half pairing of Perry NG, and Curtis Nelson coming in to deputise for the suspended Cedric Kipray. Niles and Kunku will play on the left side as the teams come out below me. At midfield, we feel of Romain Sawyers as the holding player, Ralls and Renamota in front, and a front three of Shea Ojo and Callum O'Dowda flanking the returning Callum Robinson. On the bench of the Bluebirds, Jack Annick, Joel Bagan, Kian Atet, Tom Sang, Gavin White, Ruben Colwell and Mark Harris. And Connor, I'll ask you the cliched $1 million, whatever you want to call it, question. Callum Robinson returning, I'm sure after that unfortunate Derby Day incident, he will want to make a quick reintroduction to these Cardiff City fans.
He certainly will. Well, again, speaking early this week to the Matchday programme, Callum Robinson told me he's just hungry to get out there and score some goals, get some assists, do what he does best, and show that Cardiff fans big round of applause to them there. He knows what happened that day in West Wales, and he's keen to make amends for it, that's for sure. Good to see him back.
Hull City under the new stewardship of Liam Rossigna, and he names the team you can see on your graphic now. We are trying to work out exactly what he's going to do. We think a false nine. Ryan Longman is the man we suspect will get that duty. Oscar Estepunian is the big goal scorer who is out tonight, suspended. Lots of workmanlike midfielders in there. Ryan Woods, one of them, always tends to play well at Cardiff City Stadium. And centre-half figure, former Nottingham Forest player Tobias Figueiredo. Very cultured, silky on the ball, always feel there's a mistake in him. Can Cardiff City look to exploit that? And I'm glad, Connor, in a way, that Liam Rossigna got a job. I thought he did well at Derby in difficult circumstances. They decided to go another way. They've got a very good manager now in Paul Warne, but I think he's a very good young coach, Liam Rossigna. Difficult job at Hull City, though.
It is a difficult job. Not a lot of stability, let's say, for Hull City in terms of those managerial appointments. Not too much time given to the bosses at the MKM Stadium. But I think what was key about that appointment was the way that Derby County played. Obviously had their issues financially off the pitch last season, but they still persisted with that style. Of course, Ryan Alsop, no stranger to that, been a big key part for the Rams last season. So I think Rossigna will try and bring that here and start, hopefully for him, looking to get his first win. Hopefully for us it can be the Bluebirds who get 3 points.
Hull City